From the Darkness, developed and published in 2021 by N4BA, is a first-person psychological horror game in which you, the protagonist, are tasked with retrieving a family album from your recently deceased grandfather's apartment. That sounds pretty normal and okay, but things quickly take a turn for the worse. As far as gameplay goes, From the Darkness focuses heavily on exploration within a creepy hellscape of an environment. Fair warning, there is plenty of gratuitous guts and gore to be seen here, so this one is not for the more squeamish gamer. The only other actions you can really perform besides walking around in various levels of darkness hoping to find the next key item or happen upon the exact location that will trigger the next sequence of events are running for your life and hiding. And trust me, you're going to want to do both of those. A lot. This game is pretty bare story-wise, but I'm not too disappointed with that, primarily because the game only lasts for about an hour. Unless you're me. We know that I'm a special variety of gamer that has a bit more trouble figuring out the obvious even when it's staring me in the fucking face. So my playthrough took about an hour and a half. So I'm not mad about the bare-bones story and the lack of solid justification for our protagonist showing up at this creepy apartment in the first place, because we have such precious little time with this gem of a horror game. The developers knew this and spent their time wisely creating a short-form horror masterpiece that checks all the boxes required to make any hapless player feel unsafe and on the verge of tears at all moments. Just like some of the other indie horror games I've been blown away by, this game does a lot with a little. The visuals are not in and of themselves earth-shattering, but the devs take a cramped, abandoned apartment and use light and darkness to their fullest extent to create limitless horror in a very limited space. We have some absolutely solid jump scares, but only a handful. The game relies much more on the potential of what might be lurking just beyond the farthest reaches of the light. Our every movement is being watched, and the devs go to great lengths to make us constantly and painfully aware of that fact. I played this with the intention of having a relaxing morning stream because I'm insane? And what I got instead was about 90 minutes of unrelenting tension. Bravo. The soundscape is also top-notch. I'm honestly on the fence about just one small thing. I could be swayed either way. The sound effects were unbelievably real. The noises that filled the cramped apartment I was trapped in were unnerving as hell. But there wasn't a lot in terms of soundtrack. Don't get me wrong. When there was an accompanying musical composition, it was fucking brilliant and really helped play up the tension. But moments with musical track accompaniment were sparse. And here's what I'm on the fence about. Usually I'm disappointed by that, but the entire point of this game is that you are trapped in an apartment with God knows what, and every sound, every hiss of a steam pipe or clanging of metal could very well be the last that you hear. And I'm wondering if that's the reason we don't get a lot of soundtrack. It could potentially prevent us from being drawn into as close to a state of real paranoia as I'd ever like to get. So maybe I've talked myself out of that potential criticism. For now, I might change my mind 50 times by week's end. Another key component of From the Darkness is puzzle solving. While these puzzles are not overly complicated, you try keeping your shit together enough to find pieces and parts while that fucking thing skulks about the apartment and messes with your light sources. There is very little direction given in terms of where to look for objects or how to find them, but again, that might be intentional. I did not want to scour this apartment because I was creeped out of my mind. But with precious little instructions, I had no other choice. I had to take risks I did not feel safe enough to take in order to solve ridiculously mundane tasks like finding a replacement light switch. It's almost like the devs were toying with me and taking great pleasure in it on top of it all. You cheeky bastards. From the Darkness is $6.99 US on Steam, and it is so worth every penny. It's a short experience, but N4BA proves that you don't need to be God's gift to literature in order to make an excellent horror experience. You just need to know how to fuck with us.